This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Let's talk about what's next. Here we are. The Summerslam card is together, and it's time for the free-for-all. And Steve Austin is fresh off of becoming king of the ring and coining that famous phrase, Austin 316. And on the pre-show, they do a rather interesting little skit here. Let's just jump to it, I guess, and we'll come back to some other news and notes leading into the show. But the creative is Yoko's going to go to set up the big bonsai drop, and he's going to, with his extra weight, because he's heavier than ever at this moment, pull the top turnbuckle off. So instead of just using it to pull himself up and bounce up and down comes the bonsai drop, the turnbuckle gives way, the rope breaks, he falls backwards. Austin gets him with the, I think you call it, let's sneak one. So he gets the quick pin.
A steal one.
There you go. But the concept is, Yokozuna is heavier than ever. And I know that that's been something you guys have discussed a lot when you were trying to get him to go to the Mayo Clinic and Duke and all these other examples where you guys were trying whatever you could to help this fella get the weight under control. What do you remember about the creative here? And ultimately one of the biggest stars in the business is going to wind up being on the pre-show.
Well, it's ironic how that worked out. Obviously, I can't tell you I was wild about it. But it got Austin on the TV and it got Yoko on the television. It added a little bit of sizzle to the pre-show, and we're using the pre-show like an infomercial. It's free for people to watch. So seeing Austin on there and seeing the crowd and all that stuff, emotionally invest, so forth, I thought was pretty good. But having a what was it segment? 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
Yeah, it was real fast.
Yeah, it was. They weren't out there long enough to make it stink too bad. And they weren't out there long enough to make it great, but they're out there long enough to sell some pay-per-views. So I think that was the whole deal there. But you're right about Yoko. We were very concerned about Yoko's weight, and it was not just the fact that he couldn't execute or wouldn't execute. It was the fact that his long-term health was the issue of this. That's what that was. He's becoming. I had a doctor tell me one time. I said, you got to take charge of this thing because he's morbidly obese.
Yeah.
That scared. When I heard that description, it scared the shit out of me. Because I just knew that somewhere along the way, we're going to get a phone call that Yokozuna, much like Andre, was found dead in his hotel room. And, we're not prophesizing it, didn't want it to happen, but it seemed like it was inevitable. So I wasn't crazy about it, but I understand why it was done. And not knowing at the time how big Austin was going to get, kind of solidified the rationale behind it.
Yeah, I mean, to give clarity or my opinion of what you just said, if you know that you've got a guy who's hot, why not put him on the pre-show and help you sell some pay-per-views? And it is a hot angle. It is an interesting looking way of, it's not something people had seen before. It wasn't overexposed. It felt new. It felt fresh. And yeah, here's this big star. He's getting everybody's attention. So it feels like a home run.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, they weren't out there long enough to kill it. They weren't out there long enough to make it great. They were out there long enough to get the exposure and to create some buzz about that night's pay-per-view.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.